Proverbs 13. A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressors shall eat violence. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. The soul of the sluggard desireth, and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. A righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked man is loathsome, and cometh to shame. Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way, but wickedness overthroweth the sinner. There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches.
All right. Thank you, Lord, for bringing us here another day. Thank you, Lord, for waking us up this morning, letting us see another day. I ask that you give me the strength, Lord, to speak this word right and give people understanding of what's going on. I ask that you make me a vessel so that you speak to me, to the people, because we got a heavy topic today, Lord, and the people need to see why and what is going on and the reason why it's happening, Lord. Again, thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for everything you provided us with, Lord. In your precious name, amen. Now, as we get started with this, of course, I'm going to let the guy go ahead and repeat the verse again before we do our breakdown. But this verse speaks volumes to what's going on now. And I don't have Sauce Walker in the thumbnail, but this also includes Sauce Walker, SACOP, not only them, Yellow Beezy, Lil Durk, Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, Whack 100, like the list goes on. Yeah, I mean, it goes on. And the ones in the thumbnail is just not the only ones. But this verse speaks to why a lot of the stuff is happening to them, and why they are going through the stuff that they're going through, for the last couple months. But as usual, like I said, we're gonna let the guy speak we're gonna let the guy go over the verse one more time before we actually give our breakdown on what's going on.
Proverbs 13. A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressors shall eat violence. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. The soul of the sluggard desireth, and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. A righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked man is loathsome, and cometh to shame. Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way, but wickedness overthroweth the sinner. There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, this book, bruh, this book speaks volumes, bruh. I just be finding God leads me to the verses, and I just come bring them to y'all. I won't even be like trying to dissect, because so many chapters. But all I can say is, God helps me find these verses, bruh, so that I can bring to y'all. But this one going to be a little different, because now I'm including some people that actually is going through some stuff from this word. Like, I'm not just speaking on what I've been through. I'm actually going to break it down to your favorite entertainers and stuff like that. Now, first verse: the wise man heareth his father's instructions, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. Bruh, that kind of like sums it up for everything right there. Like, if you know me and Theo, always been talking about, certain things about hearing signs and seeing signs and stuff like that. The Lord gives you signs before he makes his decision. He gives you signs. He gives you a chance to actually get right and do right before I actually put you through these tribulations. And I was talking to B, and this is what trials and tribulations is. I'm gonna send you trials, and if you pass them, I reward you. But if you don't pass them, you got to go through these tribulations. And this is part of what this verse is saying. A wise son hears his father's instructions, which means he's gonna hear what his father is telling him. If what the Lord is telling you, he's going to be able to hear. He's going to understand, okay, Lord, I get what you're saying. You're telling me to do this, so this is what I'm going to do because you're giving me the instructions to do this. And this goes back to the last video I was doing, and I was breaking down about he gave me a test. He gave me 2 jobs at the same time to have an interview with. One where I was begging to stop smoking and I was going to get right and all that stuff. He gave me that one, and then he gave me one where I can keep smoking and just finish going down the path that I was going down. You see what I'm saying? He gives you trials. He gives you signs and stuff. So anybody just say, "Oh, this is just happening and I don't know what's going on." No, you know what's going on. You know why. Exactly why. The Lord gave you a sign that, look, you can either do right or you can do wrong. How you want to choose. Okay, you chose wrong. Okay, well, this is your consequences then. This goes to everybody that I mentioned in the beginning. Lil Durk, Yellow Beezy, Whack 100, Loose Cannon, Brick Baby. Don't think because Whack just skated off into the sunset that he don't have his time coming. Trust me, he has his time coming, and it's going to say that in this verse. So we all heard. Well, in fact, before we get there, let's finish verse 1 off before we get there. My bad, I don't want to jump the gun. Okay, a wise man heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. Which means when you walking with the Lord gives you signs. He tells you things to do. He may send other people to deliver a message, and you gotta follow them instructions. But a scorner, which is a person who just lives freely on his own, he knows that God is here, but he doesn't listen to God's instructions when it's given to him. He just does it. He just does the stuff on his own, what he wants to do when he wants to do it. And basically, like I said before, a person would commit a sin and then be like, "Oh, God knows my heart. God knows my heart." And I couldn't think of the word that I used on the last live, but I talked to Theo, and I said a premeditative sinner. So a premeditated sinner is a person that runs with iniquities. Iniquities is a person that knows he's sinning, and that doesn't go with what the Lord told them or doesn't please the Lord. So what he does is he makes that phrase up, like I said, "Oh, the Lord knows my heart. All I gotta do is ask for forgiveness." But how about you not do it from the beginning? If you know this doesn't please me, why would you do it? And that's a premeditative sinner, and that's bringing your inequities to the Lord, knowing that what you're doing is a sin, but you're gonna do it anyway and ask for forgiveness. So this is basically the first verse. A wise son heeds his father's instructions, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. Let's go to verse 2. A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressors shall not eat shall eat violence. Excuse me. So a man, I'm gonna break this down into two different ways. A man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. Okay. Yes, I broke it down to two different ways. Now, what I'm saying here, and what the Lord is trying to tell y'all, is that we all heard the saying, "A closed mouth don't get fed," but we never heard this saying that a man that speaks too much tends to attract violence, or tends to attract negative energy. Okay, so a man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, and this is what me and Theo again was trying to tell y'all before. The tongue speaks life and death. You can speak good things into your existence, or you can speak negative stuff, and that will also come forth. You will speak that into existence. And this is why I mentioned Sauce Walker. And it's crazy because Sauce Walker did a song, right? Sauce Walker did a song. And I'm gonna find it for this video, and I'm gonna put it in here. But I'm not gonna play the song. I'm gonna actually read the lyrics. And what Sauce Walker did was that he spoke of a certain situation which had to do with somebody dying and all that stuff in his song. And it's ironic that how he mentioned this in this song is exactly how his artist Say So P died. Now these are Sauce Walker's words, not mine. Big booty B walking when it's hot outside. Nigga dead in the car on the passenger side. Had a switch in his left. He was thinking to slide. He ain't even get the pour. Nigga watered them down. And it's messed up because these are the signs that is given to you before you start to do stuff. You will get signs, but you ignore them signs. You ignore God and what God is sending to you because you think that what you're doing is all on you. You're making the decision, and ain't nothing gonna happen to you, and all this other bull crap, cliche bull crap. But at the end of the day, God has the last judgment. You don't get to judge how your life is moved and all that. Nah, that's false. God judges how your life goes. So a man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. You speak in violence, you talking about violence, all this stuff is gonna come back to you. It's gonna come back to you one way or the other, whether you like it or not. Now this verse 3 goes also with verse 2. So we're gonna get to verse 3 real quick because all this kind of goes together. Okay, verse 3. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction. Okay, let's read that again because I don't think y'all grasping the concept. Y'all like to say, "Oh, a closed mouth don't get fed," and you gotta speak if you want something. Okay, well, he who keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, which is he who guards his mouth preserves his life. But he that opens wide his lips shall have destruction. Do you get what it's saying? He who opens his mouth likes to talk a lot, likes to do all this riffing back and forth, la 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 la, shall have destruction. So what it's saying is, and this is goes back to Sauce Walker. Now, if you think about it, right before all that stuff happened with Sauce Walker, right? They was popping their stuff. Yeah, but niggas scared to come to Memphis. People don't want to come to Memphis because they already done. Yeah, look what I got. Look what we wearing. We got Louis Vuitton. We got big bag. Look my boy's shoes he got on. Popping their stuff. Yeah, we got this. We got that. Okay. And I told y'all before about covetousness. You know, don't let all your everything you say be with covetousness. So you're already sinning right there. Covetousness means putting your life in worldly possessions, putting everything that you have to say in worldly possessions, and that right there is just as deadly. It is a big sin, and just as deadly as murder, adultery, theft, so forth and so on. So it's a sin that should not be committed. And just look what happened. They was going through popping their stuff, opening their mouth, flapping at their lips, and guess what happened? Destruction came. So this is why verse 2 and verse 3 goes together. A man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the souls of the transgressors, which is the unfaithful, feeds on violence. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction. You see what I'm saying? So just by speaking too much or saying too many things, like I said, you speak life and death, and life and death is spoken through the tongue. You speaking too much stuff can have you facing destruction. So it's not just a closed mouth don't get fed. Yeah, you're right. It's good to speak and let people know, like, you know, this is what I want, this is what I need, you know, and see if somebody can help you. But when you speaking wrong and you speaking in an unfaithful manner, and you're speaking on the wrong things, opening your mouth could lead you down a path that you really don't want to go down, which could be destruction. And this doesn't just speak to Sauce Walker. No, this speaks to Yellow Beezy and Little Dirt. Both of these dudes, and this is mostly to Little Dirt as well, because for a person who is a Muslim and join a Muslim, you wasn't moving as if you was Muslim. You wasn't moving righteousness. You wasn't moving, how you were supposed to move. And this is why you got your case the way you got it. Because yes, we all seen you take, I think they call that a shahada or something like that, where you get basically like baptized into the Muslim religion or saved into the Muslim religion or something like that. I think that's what it's called. I'm not Muslim, so don't butcher me, any Muslims that hear me speak about this. But he basically got saved to be a Muslim. You think right then and there that you would start moving differently and thinking differently. You see what I'm saying? You would start moving in the way of how you're supposed to move. But nah, you can't let your image go. You can't let your image go. You gotta be this stone cold killer, stepper, slider, whatever the heck you want to be. And you're not even doing that. You're sending out people to go do that, which is just as evil and just as sinful as the person who did it. And not only that, once it got done, you're mocking the dead. You're laughing at the dead. That right there holds a different kind of spirit. You're mocking the dead. No, was the track, yeah, I mean, where he talk about Quando Rondo cousin get hit, and then he uses Quando's voice in the song. No, yeah, I mean, because his cousin or his relative died. So you're not only, I mean, committing the sin, you're even mocking the death. And this is what verse 4 verse 1 was basically saying. A wise man heeds his father's instructions, but a scorner, which is a person that mocks God and all that stuff, mocks the religion and all that, does not listen to rebuke. You see what I'm saying? They don't think that what they're doing is actually wrong and actually has consequences behind it. You laughing at people's death, and you putting all these people in the song that you done hired somebody else to do. You're just as evil as the person who did it. And this goes back to verse 2 and verse 3. A man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. That's all he do. He feed off of violence. Listen to all his songs. All his songs he feeds on violence. His biggest songs is not even talking about violence. They like love songs and daggone the song with J. Cole, like he not talking about violence. He not talking about sliding on ops and shooting people and none of that stuff. But he makes a lot of his money off of those type of songs. Mm-hmm. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens his lips shall have destruction. There you go, Lil Durk. This is why you're going through the stuff that you're going through. You like feeding on violence? Okay, cool. You like opening your mouth? Well, there go your destruction right there. And this even goes to Yellow Beezy. Had you just kept your mouth shut and just been like, you know what, I don't even want to talk about this stuff. I don't want to, make it seem like I want to stir up anything. Nah, what you do is you try to sneak this. You try to talk in circles and all this crazy stuff. You want to say certain things about people, and well, here you go. Soon as mode 3 pass, what you do? You up there laughing at his death, laughing at this. You made a diss song, even to go further with that. You made a diss song and even was talking about him. So, well, guess what? This is why you're going through what you're going through. A murder for hire case. Because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. You couldn't preserve your mouth so you could have life. Instead, you want to open your lips, and now you're facing destruction. Yeah, you're a stepper, you're a slider, you big and bad. Well, be big and bad behind the walls with the other big and bad people that's in there. There you go. You want to play gladiator games? Well, guess what? You in gladiator school. There you go. Congratulations. I hope everything that you wanted is behind there now. Let's get to verse 4. Verse 4. The soul of the sluggard desireth and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. Which breaking down what it's saying in another way, the soul of the lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. So the soul of the lazy man, we already know what that is. like we said before, uh, like they like to say, a closed mouth don't get fed. So a person who's actually not trying to is actually not trying to do nothing with their life, and a person that just seeks to ask for things and can you get me this, can you do this for me, you know, they don't have they don't desire anything. They're not, how can I say this, their ambitions are low. They don't have no ambition, no drive to want to do anything in life because they're used to handouts. So they don't have to do nothing. They don't have to work for anything. You see what I'm saying? They don't have to put in no work to get anything, nothing like that. They just sit and chill and just wait for the handouts. So now they when they get older, they don't have no ambition to want to do anything. That's why they said the sluggard desire and hath nothing, because their laziness and not wanting to have ambition to go do anything, they desire nothing. They don't have anything to stand on it or to fall back on, or to say say that this is what I accomplished, this is what I got out of it. Yes, I put in the work, I put in the time, the dedication, and now I have this. Now I was rewarded this. That's what it's speaking of. But the soul of the diligent man shall be made rich. The person who breaks their back every day to get up to go do something. The person who, even though they might get fired, have ambition to want to go do something or make something shake, will be made rich. They find a way to make money. That's one thing. shouts out shouts out to my homeboy Todd. Cause my homeboy Todd and my cousin both told me one day at separate times. It's like, bro, like, I go a couple months without seeing you or whatever, and every time you come around, bro, you always got a hustle going on. You always got something going on. Like, even if you lose a job or whatever, you still find a way to make money, or find a way to hustle to make some money, or provide for yourself. You always have that ambition. Yeah, I mean, to you always got a scheme going on or something, and it felt good. It felt good to hear that, and that's just the Lord speaking through them to tell me that to keep doing what I'm doing. That right there felt good to me, because when I thought about it, it's like, dang, you know what? I am like a jack of all trades, and that's only through God giving me that ability to actually do these different tasks, like doing multiple different tasks, doing this one season, then doing something else a whole nother season. That is God. That's nothing but it. And that's the difference between a lazy man and the soul of the diligent. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. Like, no matter what position I'm in, I'm gonna find a way to make something shake. Lord's gonna push me to make something shake. I can't just sit there and not have anything. I'm gonna try to at least make something work. See what I'm saying? So let's get to verse 5. And this is verse 5 and 6. This is for WAC 100, and this is for loose cannon. And I I don't really throw Brick Baby. I don't really throw Brick Baby in this one, but well, Brick Baby will go. Brick Baby will go into the second verse and the third verse. A man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens up wide his lips shall have destruction. So Brick Baby will be in verse 2 and 3. This is more to like Loose Cannon and Whack 100. A righteous man hates lying. A righteous man doesn't get no pleasure from telling lies. You get what I'm saying? You don't get no pleasure from telling lies. A righteous man is going to tell you the truth. He's going to be honest with you, whether you like it or not. A righteous man doesn't want to sit here and lie. And this is why I got Loose Cannon and Whack 100 in this picture, is because we all know that when he was up there on No Jumper, he was lying about that situation. And that he was lying on that situation to get fed, to eat, to get some notoriety behind him so that people can know who he is. But see what happens, go back to verse 3. You open your mouth too much, guess what happens? Destruction comes. So you talked yourself into a hole. You talked yourself into that indictment, that destruction, by sitting here and lying about a situation that possibly could have happened, but possibly didn't happen. We will never know because the people over here ain't over there. But it was told that was a lie, and everybody knew that was a lie. So a righteous man hates lying, but the wicked man is loathsome and comes to shame. Let's go back to the verse real quick. All right. Just so that y'all can see it's not just me saying these things. I had to bring it back up for y'all real quick so that you can see what I'm reading. Okay, and we're going to do 5 and 6 because this goes, like I said, these two verses go to Whack 100 and Loose Cannon. A righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and cometh to shame. The righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way, but the wickedness overthroweth the sinner. Okay, which when you break it down is the righteous man hates lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and comes to shame. Righteousness guards him whose way is blameless, but the wickedness overthrows the sinner. So we all know Whack 100 is one of the biggest liars on here. And like I said, he's gonna have his time to where as though what he's doing is gonna come back to him. But this caught up to Loose Cannon faster than it caught up to Whack 100. Alright, so reason why I caught up to Loose Cannon before Whack 100 is because, again, the type of situation it was, instead of just standing on business and standing on being righteous about it, you chose to lie and make up a false narrative to get what I guess clicks and views. You know, this world works on clicks and views now, and you chose to be a vulture and feed off the dead. And I told Theo this, like, we're the biggest culture vultures out here. You know, everybody want to say whack, not whack. Everybody want to say Adam 22 and Vlad and certain people are culture vultures. You know what I'm saying? Brian, what's his? I can't remember that boy name. That little white boy that did the Mr. Disrespectful joint. They try to call him a culture vulture. I wouldn't even go that far to say that. I'ma just say they was opportunists. They seen an opportunity and they took it. Even though it has to do with our culture, they took an opportunity and ran with it. I'm gonna say we're the biggest culture vultures because anytime academics, anytime somebody dies, they run into the culture and making videos. Anybody that talks about nothing but Black Death, when they come out, somebody died or something, you see 30 and 40 videos of people talking about this one person's death. That's culture vulture. You're feeding off the death of another person. That's what I consider a culture vulture is. Somebody that dies and you make a video to get into the algorithm so that you can make money off of YouTube video of somebody dying. You're not pushing out nothing positive no other time. But then when somebody dies or something happens to somebody or whatever the case may be, you're making videos to feed off the death of a person or off the downfall of a person. That's what a culture vulture to me is. You know what I'm saying? If Adam 22 hires Crip members and blood members to come up there and speak and do all this stuff, that's an opportunity he's taking. Them people can easily be like, no, I don't want to do that. But like Naeem said, if you want to get the truth and you want to get some something out of a Black person, you know, to some type of entertainment out of a Black person, just put a white man in front of and they'll go crazy. A white man with a camera and they'll go crazy for him. Look at me, master. I can job for you. You see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say that they're culture vultures, even though they're in the culture talking about. I wouldn't say they was necessarily culture vultures. I would just say they're opportunists, and they take the best opportunity that they can. But with verse 5 and 6, you know, a righteous man would hate lying. He wouldn't come up there to tell no lies. He wouldn't come up there to speak on stuff that he shouldn't have no business speaking on and saying certain things. But now we're dealing with wicked men here. We're dealing with people that is not moving on the Lord's time. Non-righteous people. So the wickedness will overthrow the sinner. The wickedness of this person would take control and make them say certain things that they shouldn't say, do certain things that they probably wouldn't do. You know, like they just get overthrown by the corruption and the wickedness of them being sinners. You know what I'm saying? So this is to loose cannon and whack 100. You're good. You're lying yourself. You're lying to the people and to yourself, and it's corrupting your soul. It's making you even more wicked than just actually being a sinner. It's actually making you more wicked than anything. And yeah, that's why loose cannon is going through the stuff that he's going through. Because if we think about it, they didn't want nothing from loose cannon except for him lying and saying Big U had something to do with Nipsey Hussle's death. That he called him and all this other bull crap he was talking about, and he had to call Nip and be like, "Oh, yo, Nip, you all right? Because they said you was dead," or whatever the heck he told Nipsey on the phone that he said. So he gotta face his consequences, bro. And on top of that, this is your payback from actually stripping and pistol whipping somebody for another person. Whack 100. You stripped, pistol whipped, and beat up this other dude because you ain't like the fact that he was talking to Whack 100 the way he was talking to him. Well, guess what? You think Whack cares about you? No. Whack goes on and lives his best life while you done got corrupted by wickedness. You done got corrupted to go do some dumb stuff, and now all that just played full circle right back to you. Verse 7. Let's get to verse 7. Verse 7. There is that maketh himself rich, yet has nothing. There is maketh himself poor, has great riches. Which is not really no real significant breakdown, but there is one who makes himself rich yet has nothing, and one who makes himself poor yet has great riches. And this is speaking as if, we all know people who want to be rich so bad and they get a lot of money and stuff like that, but their soul and their happiness and all that stuff is just cease to exist. They don't have anything besides money. They don't have nothing in the world, that makes them happy. That they can say, I'm pleased with the life that I'm living and stuff like that, and this can speak to so many different people, not the people that not just the people that I have on the screen and stuff like that, but this can also go to entertainers like LeBron James and entertainers like the Kardashians, Kanye West, stuff like that. They don't really have peace at mind. They don't really have peace within themselves. Kanye West, for example, he has to do so many antics, and it's sad because instead of being happy with being the successful rapper that you are, you show that you're not happy in life, period. That you are lacking something in life. If you wouldn't go on these crazy rants to get attention. You wouldn't, you wouldn't do certain things to get the people to actually look at you. You would just go about your business. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I rocks with Derrick Rose. Because Derrick Rose, and it shows the difference between, I might pull that clip up and put it in here in this joint. I think about I'm gonna pull it up and put it in here. And I'm gonna show you a man who makes himself poor but has great riches. because when they went up there to that All-Star game and they had all them guys cooning out, dancing and dancing and doing like LeBron James and all them real big figures. You know what I'm saying? They had them doing all that. Derrick Rose he was right there professional, like just chilling. He was professional, just chilling. They called his name. He raised his hand. He ain't go out there cooning and all that stuff. But when you see the difference between the two, you can tell he's happy in his life with what he was able to accomplish. But then when you look at LeBron James, he over there mad because Stephen A is talking about his son. What you expect Stephen A to do? How you mad that he's talking about your son? You crashing out in the middle of a game, going over to Stephen A, which is a sports analyst. It has nothing to do with the game itself, but you're mad because he's speaking bad about your son, and you feel like that shouldn't happen. Why? Did you crash out on Stephen A when he was talking about Kwame? When he talked bad about Kwame, did you crash out on him then? Did you go to him and tell him like, yo, you shouldn't be saying stuff about Kwame, you shouldn't say stuff about basketball players, you don't know? No. You only made it about yourself. So this is why, when you go to say certain things, people be like, oh, niggas, just shut up and dribble. We don't care about what you got to talk about in politics. Just shut up and dribble the ball. Entertain us, boy.
It's always unwise to seek political advice from someone who gets paid $100 million a year to bounce a ball. Oh, and LeBron and Kevin, you're great players, but no one voted for you. Millions elected Trump to be their coach. So keep the political commentary to yourself, or as someone once said, shut up and dribble.
That's what you do. That's why you get a lot of scrutiny behind it. This is why. Because you want to be who you are, but you're not going to have peace of mind. We can tell you not having peace of mind because you let Stephen A get underneath your skin. How? With everything that you accomplished, how you let Stephen A get underneath your skin? That don't even make sense. You think Stephen A would get under Derrick Rose's skin? No. Derrick Rose would never do nothing like that because he understands, if I don't have anything, if I'm not this super public figure, face of the league and all this other stuff, I made my money. I done went and did what I needed to do. I done balled out. I done, got acknowledged and all that stuff, and now I'm happy with what I just got. I don't have to be some superstar athlete that's the face of the league and can do whatever he wants and all that stuff. I don't have to do that because I'm happy with what I did, with what I accomplished. And this goes to a lot of entertainers. A lot of entertainers that just want to be rich so bad. I want to have all the money so bad. I want to be acknowledged so bad. And then when you get to that point, you're not happy with your life and how you had to get it and how your life is going. But you had more peace at mind when you didn't have anything. When you was just a normal person, you was more happier then than you are now. When you can walk outside and people don't recognize you and 30,000 cameras are being shoved in your face every day. We seen Kanye crash out so many times on paparazzis. Can I just have peace of mind? No. You want to be this entertainer so bad. You want to be out here so bad. You want to be in the spotlight so bad. Here you go. Now you just want to be left alone and have peace of mind. No. That's what that's speaking of. The one who makes himself poor but has great riches. You can live an average life and be successful. You can have an average life and have riches. Or you can be a person that wants to be rich and have nothing. No peace of mind, no successful life, none of that stuff. Man, that's crazy. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. You can bring us that word back one more time, my guy.
Proverbs 13. A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressors shall eat violence. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. The soul of the sluggard desireth, and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. A righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked man is loathsome, and cometh to shame. Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way, but wickedness overthroweth the sinner. There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches.